Mr. Josh here, and welcome to the Kool School. Look around. Does this place look familiar? I bet it looks like at least one of the classes you've been in before, but it's not. This place is different. It's a TV set. And from now on, we're gonna start taking everything that you're learning in school, and we're gonna make it cool.
Because learning shouldn't be so rough.
Now we get it. School can be tough.
Kool School. Let's go to Kool School.
You know, when I was your age, I wanted to be an astronaut. Then, the president. Yeah, those were the good old days. America, I love you. And I'm gonna be your next president. But I eventually stopped wanting to be president. But I knew I wanted to be famous. And I wanted to do it by the time I was 16. By then, I'd be able to have a car and a girlfriend. But I really liked that number because it was the number of my favorite US president.
Do you know who the 16th President of the United States was? Hint, he had a cool beard.
This man stood for something few did before him and lived a very interesting life. I remember imagining myself sitting with him and learning everything there was to know about his legacy. Are we really in the 1800s?
We are.
Where are your video games?
I beg your pardon?
Your video games!
What are video games?
Did you just say, what are video games? Is this a joke? What did you do when you came home from school back then, huh? Watch paint dry?
Pretty much. Or I was out working.
Huh. Well, my dad makes me cut grass too sometimes for work, Mr. President Abraham Lincoln. And he only pays me $10 to do it. But, can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
The other guy down the street, Vincent, his dad gives him $20 to cut the same amount of grass. Can you believe that? I'm getting lowballed. How much did your dad pay you?
Maybe a cent if I was lucky. $20 could practically buy you a home.
A cent? A cent? Wait, is that why you're on the penny? Oh, it doesn't matter. That was still ridiculous. You were getting lowballed too, sir, and I could have spoken up for you. You know, I always knew that you and me had things in common. Oh boy, a cent. You can't even buy a bag of chips with that.
A bag of what?
OMG. He doesn't even know what a bag of chips is. This is so old-fashioned. Never mind.
You're quite a strange boy, you know that?
Mm-hmm. And you have a cool beard. How'd you get it?
Well, I grew it.
Makes sense. I bet it took a long time.
Not too long, my boy. Keep growing when you have one of your own. So, can I ask you what kind of music you kids listen to in your generation?
Well, everyone pretty much listens to the same thing. You know, like pop, rock, R&B, and country. And rap too. And rap's my favorite, like the Fresh Prince. He goes ba-dum bum ba-dum 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 ba-da-da-da, ba-dum bum ba-dum 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 ba-da-da-da, ba-dum bum ba-dum 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 ba-da-da-da, ba-dum bum.
Have I told you how strange you are? So you came back in time to speak with me?
Yes, sir. And I have lots of questions. We're learning about you in school right now.
Well then, let's walk and talk.
So we read about pilgrims, and they were pretty awesome. We read about Native Americans too, and they were just as awesome. And then we read about some man who landed on the moon. And then we read about wars. Now we're learning about how different groups of people were treated unfairly back then. Why are things like that?
I'm not sure exactly. I've always thought life should be fair for everyone, until I realized it wasn't.
What do you mean?
I lost my mother when I was about your age.
Your mom?
After that, I was very sad. I moved here to Illinois with my father. That's when I began working every day. I worked in a store and at times with animals. In my free time, I read books. and opened my mind up to a whole new world. I shared all what I was learning with anyone who'd listen, and began imagining myself doing great things for our country.
He fell in love with the world of politics, and eventually, his ideas would create a new way of thinking here in the U.S.
So I became a lawyer.
I didn't know that.
Well, I had to understand the law in order to change it. I moved to Springfield, got married, had 4 boys, and decided to run for the Senate.
Do you know what other Illinois senator became president? He too made U.S. history.
So I challenged a man with the name of Stephen Douglas.
And you won.
I lost, and it stung a bit. But should somebody give up on their dreams because they lose?
No, sir, they shouldn't.
I can't hear you.
I said, no, sir, they should not. And he didn't. He ran for Senate again and won. And not too long after, he won a seat in the White House, becoming the 16th president of the United States. The year was 1860, and all eyes were on Lincoln.
7 states called themselves the Confederacy. They believed what, in my opinion, were injustices, like slavery. States that believed in freedom, in one government, and in one economy called ourselves the Union. I wanted our country to be one union, with laws that didn't enslave people.
How did you do it?
Well,
remember those wars I mentioned a little bit earlier? Well, the biggest war in American history started after the Confederates fired on the Union here at Fort Sumter.
On January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation allowed slaves in Confederate states to become free.
a house divided against itself cannot stand. I believed this government could not endure permanently half slave, half free. I didn't expect the Union to dissolve, and I didn't expect the house to fall, but I did expect it would cease to be divided. We will become all one thing or all the other. We should think of slavery a great moral wrong, and why we do not claim the right to touch it where it exists. We wish to treat it as a wrong in the territories where our votes will reach it.
The war was won by the Union, which merged us all as the United States of America. But not everyone was happy. A man named John Wilkes Booth decided to take the law into his own hands, so to speak, and assassinated our president. President Lincoln, however, is still considered to be one of the greatest to hold office in U.S. history. Becoming president can be a tough job, but when done the right way, can inspire many people. One day, after I decided to start helping kids like you, I also got a chance to meet the president. The 42nd president of our country, Bill Clinton, signed this for me. After I spoke with him about my dreams, he looked at me and said, "Keep studying hard and having fun and being creative, and one day your dreams will come true too." Well, he was right. Some of you may not know what you want to be just yet, and that's okay. You're still young and have plenty of time to think about it. But start reading about people in history. Many of them have done some cool things that may give you some ideas of things that you can do too. If you have any questions on anything that you're learning in your history classes, then feel free to ask your awesome teachers. Or you can always email us here at the Kool School at info@helpforyouth.us. Join us for another episode of the Kool School. And until then, remember to study hard, have fun, be creative, and of course, keep it cool.
Since 1999, Mr. Josh has been working as a teacher and educational entertainer. His work has spanned across 46 states and 2 continents, hopefully impacting thousands of students. He's facilitated STEM programs for youth at Johns Hopkins University and Harvard University. His mission is for students to enjoy learning.
Boom, boom, boom,